recognized for his 5 minutes of questions. We're so happy to see you and know that you're doing well.
Thanks. I'm glad to be with you all. And yeah, things are going very well. It's really interesting. I was the 17th member who signed on to continuing and permanently funding Chairman Mr. Butterfield's bill. And I'll just relate to you what happens. Sometimes timing is important. I was at the pool within the last couple of days with my boys who are 14 and 12. And I was talking to a dad whose son is entering the 6th grade, and he has just gotten over leukemia, or is at least in remission. We were talking about this very program, and I reiterated to him my support for it. Can't think of a better way to show that support than signing on to the bill, and hopefully we can get this through, and very pleased to have done that. But we all know somebody who is affected or might be affected by this, and it just brings it all home. That being said, and I appreciate that, I do want to go to...
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you carrying it. I do want to go to the anti-doping agency, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Mr. Tygart, are you available for a question there? I know you're out there somewhere. And
I sure am. Yes, sir.
Of the internet. In your written testimony, you talk about the World Anti-Doping Agency, and you reference that the United States is not able to be on the executive committee. What is the stated reason for that? Because we've been leading and pushing hard to make the Olympics better. Why aren't we on that executive committee of the World Anti-Doping Agency?
Yeah, the process for selection of the countries around the executive committee, we fall into the Americas region, which is 43 countries in South Latin, the Caribbean, North America as well. And they had a rule change. It says the chair of a council of sports ministers gets the seat at the WADA Executive Committee. And you may know we don't have a sports minister in the United States. So while there may be some technical ability to take that position, I think the reality is that no way the U.S. is going to have that seat. And both us and Canada have been extremely disappointed because we're the two largest funders to WADA as well.
And do you think the rules change was specifically to exclude Canada and the U.S. because of our strong anti-doping position?
Certainly that suggestion has been put out there. I don't have as a lawyer, I don't have the proof that I would want to prove it, but certainly that skepticism and question has to be asked.
But what you're saying is that it's not just a conspiracy theory. There might be a little something there. If there's smoke, there might be some fire.
It's just hard for me to believe that the largest funder and one of the powerful sport countries, as well as a country that has been leading with an independent model since 2000, does not have a seat at the most powerful committee at the World Anti-Doping Agency, and realistically does not look to have one in the near future.
And that's very disappointing. While I certainly hope that we'll continue to fund your agency, is there any action we should be taking as a nation to express our disappointment and perhaps roll back our funding to that World Anti-Doping Agency if they're going to exclude us?
I think what ONDCP, and we, as I said in my testimony, applaud the effort that they went to at the request of congressional appropriators for ONDCP to provide them a report. They lay it out perfectly well, and they ask for the opportunity to have discretion in their funding. I think up till now, they've seen it only as a contract that they had to pay, regardless of what WADA did, reform-wise or otherwise. And so we would love, and we were thrilled that the House Appropriations Subcommittee, FSGG, has given them in its markup the discretion that they asked for, and we hope that the Senate does the same, and then allow ONDCP, who has the status within WADA's eyes, to be able to sit down with WADA and negotiate before just removing the money. But at the end of the day, without any leverage, money being the biggest leverage, the likelihood of change there is not realistic.
Well, and I think that's important as well, as many members of this committee may recall, and I don't remember if it was this subcommittee or not, but we had Michael Phelps and a number of others in a couple of years ago talking about this very issue. And I think it's important I think it's extremely important, and I think this committee thinks it's important that we make sure that we don't have doping in our sports in the United States or in our sports across the world as our athletes compete. But do appreciate your hard work. Is there anything else that you want us to know before I finish my questioning?
I think you're absolutely right. And there's no better testament to the number of household names in the Olympic movement, Paralympic movement, who stand beside us arm in arm to fight for their right to clean and healthy and safe sport. And we really appreciate the government's effort on this to give them the hope that they can compete in the right way.
Well, I appreciate that. And I see my time is up, Madam Chair. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. A pleasure to